So, when you have your glasses on, do you ever really think about your glasses when you see things? Probably not, because that's the whole point. You don't notice them when they're on, only when they're really dirty or they're missing. They almost disappear into us, quietly shaping how we see without reminding you that they're there. And that's what makes them so interesting. Because philosophers like Don Ihde say this is how most modern technology works. The best kind is the kind you don't actually notice that you're using. It's the kind that becomes invisible, which fascinates me and makes me wonder how much of what we call ourselves or me are actually the tools that we've stopped noticing that we're using. Today, I'm going to dive deeper into these relations with technology that exist. You don't notice this. So, if you find this fascinating and maybe it can be a discussion for your dinner party, come along.
Welcome to the insides of my logbook while doing a PhD in AI. I'm hoping that you think, I hadn't thought about it like that. So, Don Ihde, he's quite a famous philosopher of technology, and I'm quite a fan of his work. He changed my opinion, and it all started with glasses. He calls this type of relation with technology embodiment relations. When a tool, so our glasses, becomes a part of how we experience the world. So it can be our glasses. We don't look at them. We look through them. That's the interesting thing here. They extend our senses. Ooh, I am going to get run over by a car. Hold on. Hold that thought. Look here. Whoa. So they extend our senses so smoothly that they slip below awareness. The moment they stop working, when, say, the Wi-Fi drops, or the glasses are dirty, the phone dies, we feel it almost like a small little injury, some impairment. And it's in those moments that we realize how much of our perception has been outsourced to technology. When a tool becomes invisible, it stops feeling optional. The phone isn't a gadget anymore. It's a way to access the world. Headphones turn silence into privacy. Glasses turn blur into reality. And once you get used to that type of enhancement, your normal rewires around that. The device becomes part of your baseline. And that's the quiet power of this embodiment. It doesn't demand attention. It defines it. Philosopher Don Ihde's thoughts on this topic of technological embodiment is that when we use this technology, whether it be glasses or a phone or a keyboard, we don't just interact with the world differently. We become a different type of being in the world. So the glasses, the phone, the watch, whatever, they don't just simply extend us. They redraw where we end and the world begins. My eyes don't stop at my face anymore. They stop outside of the lens. My voice doesn't just stop here, it carries through the microphone and people down there can hear it. My sense of distance adjusts to how far my camera can zoom. And with all of these extensions, it redraws the boundary of myself. And we start to exist as like hybrids in the world. Half biological, other half technological. And one of the most fascinating parts is that we don't actually feel this shift happening. Because the moment the tool becomes embodied, its perception becomes ours. We say, oh, I see, not the glasses see. Do you catch my drift here and why this is fascinating? And that's how deep this mediation goes. It fuses with identity so completely that we mistake the collaboration for individuality. And that's the quiet, philosophical cost of modern convenience. Every new extension of ourselves hides another part of where we actually end. So the goal is, in our modern world, to not live without technology, to redraw my eye is here and not on the glasses. That's not the goal. But the goal is to redraw this line of self continuously. As things get better, now you don't even need to wear the glasses. You can put contact lenses in. Your eyes, it changes. The distance now, there's something different there, and this line is changing. And we should start noticing how these edges are moving. And I am not separate from my tools, my glasses, my contact lenses, or my laser eye surgery. But I also don't have to be completely swallowed up by them. When I take my glasses off, the world blows. But it also reminds me that this is my limitation as a human. And we can live with technology as we live with mirrors, aware that the reflection is not the same as the actual face or the being or the body. I think using tools doesn't erase agency. I guess forgetting that they're there maybe does. I guess if you wanted to live as a being without these technological enhancements, I think it would be important to keep a sense of where you end and your limitations end, even as the extensions keep growing. A few days ago, I spoke about extensions of our arms and our legs. Would you cut them off to get better ones? It's exactly the same idea here, is that if you do cut them off, you are at a disadvantage, but the technological embodiment allows you to be better than the norm. I find this fascinating.
Okay, I invite you to imagine the future where boundaries disappear completely. Contact lenses overlay data about the world. Implants in our head that translate thoughts. Effectively, these smart glasses that you never take off because they're in your eyes and they're in your brain. You would never lose them because they would be you. Perfect sight, perfect memory, perfect interface. But the device, it's always on. How would you know where your perception ends and the programming begins? Maybe that's the question we'll face next. And I feel like we can circle back to this in about 7 years. And the question will not be whether technology will merge with us, because it technically already has. The question will be, will we still know what part of the experience is our own? And I never really thought about it like that, because me experiencing a movie without glasses, is very different to me experiencing a movie with glasses on. And when that's in my brain, will I be able to tell the difference? I don't know. But I need to go to bed because you can clearly hear I'm still sick. I gave this too much energy. Anyway, see you tomorrow.